This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Verse 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem B'Kra Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 19 through 21, is that, we're coming into a time where the dollar is going to crash and be worthless. It's going to have no value. Inflation is going to be so high that a day's wage will be needed just to buy, as the scriptures say in Revelation 6:6, wheat and barley. In fact, let me get it. I don't want to jack it up. All right. Let me just get that real quickly. Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine. Right. And oil and wine represents the wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures, the truth. Okay, that we here at Great Millstone, through the Spirit power of Yahweh Shemal Shah, we can say confidently, humbly, but confidently, that we have the 100% truth, because you need the 100% truth to be delivered from the destruction. Okay? Now, in the NOT version of this same verse, it says, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beasts say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. You see that? All right. So this is inflation. This is the death of the dollar, right? So now, it's clear that you see a lot of investors, a lot of people in the know are leaning on gold and silver and crypto to make an attempt to get them out of the death of the dollar. All right. And I want to play this clip that I found because we have to remember history. Okay. The government in the past has always confiscated wealth. All right. To stay in control. They did it before and they will do it again. And that's why I brought out the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 19 through 21, because we cannot depend on worldly assets like gold and silver. Yes, they're a tool and there's nothing wrong to use it, but we have to understand that it can be taken away easily by this devil Esau Edom. And that's why I brought out Matthew chapter 6 verse 19 through 21, because Yahushai put us on game. When it comes to real treasures, it's the wisdom, the truth of the scriptures, who salvation is for, what the reward is, for the Lord's people, because we got the kingdom of heaven. All right, we don't need to worry about these assets these what's it called, gold and silver or crypto to deliver us, all right, when all hell breaks loose. All right, we know we're going to depend on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now, I have to have balance. That doesn't mean to crash out and to say to hell, all right, with taking action. There's nothing wrong with having silver, gold, and crypto as a hedge while we ride out this, okay, storm that's definitely coming. But there's going to be a point, and I'm about to play, okay, that having gold, silver, and crypto is not going to deliver you, okay? And I just want, that's the foundation of this lesson, and Lord willing, it is edifying, because yeah, again, I'm going to play this short clip how the government will always change the rule in the time of crisis, okay? So that's why we know that when all hell breaks loose, we're going to depend on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're not going to need to depend on this devil, okay? In fact, there's going to be let me get another scripture, all right? It's Isaiah 10. And 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, right, the elect, only the elect are going to be delivered, all right, from the chaos that's coming when this dollar collapses. And this dollar is going to collapse, okay? And it's going to create a pandemonium that nobody has seen in America, Babylon the Great. And this is why the government of America is going to be so draconian, so ruthless, all right, that even, like, again, right, the Lord's going to have to deliver his elect to get him from the impending danger, all right, because Jacob's trouble will be full effect, all right, when all hell breaks loose. And that's why the Lord's going to deliver his elect from it. And such are escape of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. Right, who's the upon him that smote them? That's these Edomites, starting with the elites, all right? We have to go to them for all things, right? As the curses say, right? If we want to buy gold or silver, we got to go to him, okay? Crypto, we got to go to his exchanges, right? All right, the use of the American dollar, that's their money, okay? But there's going to be a time where, okay, we're not going to need that anymore, all right? And this has to be at the forefront of our mind too, all right? But shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. Again, that the wine, all right, the oil, the truth, all right, that this is temporary, that we have the kingdom of heaven, all right, that the reward, okay, is to rule over these nations, okay, and is to have global dominance, all right. That's the truth, all right. Not try to obtain generational wealth in this wicked system, in this corrupt, okay, wicked system ran and ruled by these Edomites, okay, which are these so-called white people. 21, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob unto the mighty power, right? And you clearly seeing that, okay, the remnant are returning. 22, for though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteous right. And the remnant are going to know that gold and silver and crypto is not going to save them when all hell breaks loose. Again, I'm about to play this, okay, a short clip, a history lesson regarding how just because you have gold and silver, all right, doesn't mean that's going to, all right, deliver you. All right, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Shai has to deliver us. Okay, just want to make that point. All right, because clearly we know the dollar's dying, and clearly we know that it's wise to invest in hard assets as well as particular cryptos, but we have to put in our forefront that that's not going to deliver us. It's good for a temporary use for a season. That's a good way to phrase this. For a season, all right, it will come in handy, but it's not going to deliver us, all right, because this devil's going to change the rules, and you're going to see how he did it before, and he's going to do it again, all right. This is the wicked, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, is the wicked the Bible speaks of, starting with the elites, okay. And anybody teaching that the heathens can be saved, All right, because really when they say heathen, they're talking about the so-called white man. All right, is a wicked prophet, and the Lord is going to destroy them. Let's play this.
There was a moment in American history when wealth itself became illegal. A single executive order turned ordinary citizens into lawbreakers overnight. Their gold, their savings, their independence, all seized in the name of stability. Most people think something like that could never happen again. But today, the same warning signs are flashing, and this time the scale is global. April 5th, 1933. A piece of paper arrives at banks, post offices, and federal buildings across America. Executive Order 6102, signed by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The order is simple. All persons are required to deliver all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates to a Federal Reserve Bank by May 1st, 1933.
May 1st, 1933. All right, brothers in the know, you see the, what that was all about, right? The esoteric, secret society, May 1st. That's when the Bavarian Illuminati, was established by Adam Weishaupt. May 1st, 1776. And on May 1st, 1933, take away the 1 and the 9, all right, 33, you already know, 33, okay? They told the American citizen that they had to, all right, return their gold by that day or else. And you're about to see what the else is.
You have 26 days to surrender your gold. The government will pay you $20 or 67 per ounce. If you refuse, you face 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. That's equivalent to $230,000 today.
You see that? All right, this is all facts, okay? So that's why these jakes, these financial jakes and these influencers talking about generational wealth, all right? They're deceiving the Lord's people because that's not going to save you, okay? You see how easily these devils can change the rules when a crisis happens, okay? Bear with me because it's going to get more spicier, all right?
The order explicitly states that gold hoarding is prohibited. Owning gold is now a crime. Americans who had saved in gold for their entire lives were given 3 weeks to hand it over. Your gold coins, your gold bars, your gold certificates, all of it had to be surrendered to the government. Exceptions were carved out for rare coins, gold used in industry, and gold jewelry. But everything else? Gone. The government was confiscating the wealth of its own citizens. But here's the part they don't teach in history class. After Americans surrendered their gold at $20.67 per ounce, the government revalued gold to $35 per ounce through the Gold Reserve Act of January 1934, 9 months later. Think about what that means. The government forced you to sell gold at $20.67. Then 9 months later, they declared that same gold was worth $35, a 69% increase. The government confiscated gold at one price, then immediately revalued it higher. That's a 40% wealth transfer from citizens to the government. If you had $100,000 in gold, you were paid $100,000. But that gold was now worth $169,000 to the government. This wasn't economic policy. This was theft.
Boom. And that's why, again, I brought out Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 22, because Yahushua put us on game. Our big brother Yahushua. All right? Lay not up your treasures upon earth, where moth, rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Okay? Who's the biggest thief on the planet? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom. And you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans, all right, a lot of y'all forgot that. You really think the so-called white man, is good now, a lot of y'all, which is, you definitely, all right, haven't studied history, okay? And you have what's known as Stockholm Syndrome, okay? They always change the rules, all right? Here it is. They put a policy in threatening people, the average citizen. If you don't turn in your gold on May 1st, you're gonna go to prison or jail for 10 years, okay, and be fined $10,000. All right, putting fear in the people's hearts. And then once the people, those that complied, all right, they ended up getting the shaft because they ended up changing the value of gold. The government, they changed the rules, okay? So they got robbed under the guise of law. Let me get that scripture. Psalm chapter 94, verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frame in mischief by law? You see that? Which frame in mischief by law. They frame as mischief by law. They put in a law, policy, saying you must turn in your gold by May 1st, 1933, or you go to prison. And those that complied, all right, gave up their gold, okay? And then 9 months later, the federal government passes a law saying that we revalue gold. It is now $35 an ounce. So they basically robbed the people, okay? NOT version. Can unjust leaders claim that God is on their side? Right. God is not on the side of the so-called white man, all right? Or these heathens, okay? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is only dealing with his people. Really the elect, because you 2/3, you have lost your freaking mind. Leaders who decrees permit injustice. Right. Injustice. This is straight up robbery, okay? This isn't a long time ago. This is, okay, less than 100 years they did this. And it's going to happen again. It's going to get spicy. Bear with me. Okay?
At a national scale, executed through law, and it worked because Americans complied. Most people turned in their gold. Some hid it and risked prison. But the majority obeyed. Why? Because the alternative was a decade in prison and financial ruin. The government had criminalized the ownership of money itself. For 41 years, from 1933 to 1974, it was illegal for Americans to own gold. You could own stocks, bonds, real estate, paper dollars, but you couldn't own the one asset that had been money for 5,000 years. This wasn't unique to America. Britain, France, Germany, all confiscated or restricted gold ownership in the 20th century. Every major Western government did some version of this.
Key, every major Western government had their own version of a confiscation. Okay? Western civilization is associated with the Edomites, the so-called white people. Even Amalek says that Western civilization are Edomites, even though they're Edomites. Okay? I got another scripture. Psalm chapter 37, verse 35. I have seen the wicked in great power, right, to force their own the people, to force citizens, even their own citizens, to give up what is real wealth, gold. Okay? And if they didn't, there will be a penalty. That's power. That's why the scriptures say in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? He covered the face of the judge of them. Okay? If not, then who is he? Right? Okay? And this is why you can't trust in gold and silver, crypto, okay, as a tool, all right, to deliver you. Okay? It's only this is there just temporary, just like the dollar is there temporary, all right, to buy what you need, help out the body, but it's not going to deliver you, because again, these devils change the rules all the time. All right, this is what when I and just a little backstory on me. What really had me be cynical was understanding the financial system, how it's a rigged game from the jump. Okay. And I've heard about Bitcoin back in 2009 and 2010. But you know what I saw it as? A rigged game. Okay? Just like the dollar. It is controlled by the same people. Bitcoin was created by the wicked, by these wicked people. Okay? These Edomites. All right? And that's why I was always cynical about it from the jump. Now, granted, there's nothing wrong. I want to be balanced about this, okay? There's nothing wrong with buying it, all right, using it to help yourself out, your family, but don't depend on these, what the script, uncertain riches, okay? Right. What is it? Uncertain riches. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17, charge them that are rich in this world, right? Because you're going to have brothers that are well off, okay, due to making right financial investments, which is nothing wrong. That they be not high-minded, right? This is not a time to be proud or arrogant, okay? In fact, you help out the body. Not trust in uncertain riches, right? Because they are uncertain riches. You see what I just played? Okay, gold and silver is real value. And look what these devils did back in 1933, okay? But in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy, right? Because ultimately it comes from the Lord, okay? All right, everything comes from the Lord. But we have to understand that this is all, these uncertain riches are not going to save us, okay? Only Yahweh is, all right? And there's going to be a time when they're going to change the rules, all right? And, okay, we're going to have to depend on the Lord 100%, sole faith on the Lord, okay? Now let's go, let me finish this up. Psalm chapter 37, verse 35. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Right. And the wicked are these Edomites, these so-called white people. Okay. Starting with the JJs, the 1940s, the small hats. Right. Look at this. BlackRock, Larry Fink joins Trump team to take talks to rebuild Ukraine. Okay. BlackRock is the hand of the Rothschild, whether they want to admit it or not. Okay. Now they're changing it up because I try to look for information. Is BlackRock and Rothschild Co., which means Rothschild and Company, in partnership. And they said a long time ago, not anymore. So it goes to show you they're changing the information up because people are waking up. They're putting two together. So now they're lying, okay, with AI. All right. And then AIs, they're going to be lying through AI too. All right. They're going to be changing it up. And that's why, again, this truth is going to have to be in your mind, okay? Because they're going to take down this. They're going to take down these videos. These videos can't be up, okay? It's exposing them. So and again, this is the wicked, okay? These Edomites, these are the wicked. And they're spreading themselves like a green bay tree. But what did the Lord say after that? 36. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yeah, I sought him, but he could not be found. Right? Because in the NLT version it says, but when I looked again, they were gone. Though I searched for them, I could not find them. Right? Because ultimately they're going to get their judgment. All right. And after they do their 1,000 years, all right, of slavery, of hardcore slavery, yes, that is part of the truth. That is that oil and wine, that these heathens are going into slavery serving us, the Israelites. All right. But Esau, Edom, pursuant to Obadiah. All right. You can read Obadiah. It's only one chapter. It talks about Edom being wiped out, their whole nation being, genocide, for lack of better words. That's in the book of Obadiah, but they're not going to bring that out in the plantation Christian churches. All right, because these people are wicked. The plantation Christian church is wicked. Okay, they're liars. They're snakes. Okay, they do not have the truth, and they're going to comply. Okay, and tell you to comply. They're going to use Romans 12. All right, Romans 12. To tell you to go take that RFID chip, the mark of the beast, because really, what is back to the point, because we're about prophecy. We have a great millstone. What is this all leading to? The RFID chip, the mark of the beast. So let's play a little bit, then I'm going to fast forward. It's going to get real spicy, because notice the key part. This is what drew me to watch this video, the modern playbook.
Here's how the 1933 confiscation happened, why Roosevelt ordered it, how the government profited from the revaluation, the 4 stages every gold confiscation follows, which other countries seized gold from their citizens, why modern governments could do it again through different mechanisms, and what the pattern reveals about monetary crises and government responses. Understanding the 1933 gold confiscation isn't about history. It's about seeing the playbook governments use when the monetary system breaks.
Right. When the monetary system breaks, and we clearly see that this current monetary system is breaking at the seams. You have to be a moron not to see it. Okay? Now, let's fast forward, because it's going to get spicy. All right, he goes into history. All right, but now we're going to go into right here when he talks about modern confiscation. Check this out, because you're going to have people, well, I own gold, brother. Brother, I've been buying gold and silver, brother. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But how you going to use it? All right? How you going to use it when they change the rules? So let's play this.
Annually. The Federal Reserve has created over $20 trillion since 1971. The dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power since 1913. These are the same conditions that led to 1933. Unsustainable debt, currency debasement, loss of confidence in paper money. The difference is that today, the government won't confiscate physical gold the way it did in 1933.
Listen up, okay? Hey, be not ignorant to Satan's devices, okay? Watch the playbook.
Physical gold is too decentralized.
Right.
Too many people hold it in private vaults.
You see that? Brother, I own gold. Brother, okay. I own silver, okay. All right? Check this out.
Safe deposit boxes buried in backyards. Instead, modern confiscation will happen through different mechanisms that achieve the same goal, preventing you from protecting your wealth outside the government-controlled system. Let me show you the 4 modern threats that function like gold confiscation without physically taking your gold. Modern threat. Number 1, reporting requirements and taxation. The government can't confiscate gold easily today, but it can make owning gold expensive and risky through reporting requirements and punitive taxes. Currently, if you sell gold or silver to a dealer, certain transactions must be reported to the IRS on Form 1099-B. This creates a paper trail. The government knows you sold gold and expects you to pay capital gains taxes.
Boom! Capital gains tax, okay? Because you made a profit, all right? That IRS, okay? That's the Gestapo to steal your wealth. That's why they set up the IRS, okay? Along with the Federal Reserve. It was all set up around the same time, okay? This is the devil, okay? We're dealing with here. And again, there's nothing wrong with holding gold, all right, as a form to hedge against the inflation of the dollar. But there's going to be a point where they're going to change the rules, okay? And again, even now, if you do say because gold is like 4,000 something an ounce, right? So say you had $20,000-$30,000 worth of gold, all right? You have to report, okay, when you sold it to the IRS, okay? And they're going to know you sold it because there's always a paper trail. There's always a paper trail, okay? Unless you start bartering. But at that point in time, okay, people are going to have guns, knives. There's going to be a lot of snaky shit. When it comes to bartering, that's when it's going to be real, okay, crazy in America, okay? You see all these apocalyptic films, all right? Every time there's supposed to be a trade going on, there's always some snaky deal, and like, nah, we're going to take it all. We're going to, okay? All right? Because you live in a society where people are not holy. People are not righteous, okay? We're talking about, all right? This is Babylon the Great. This is nothing but wicked demons, wicked spirits of people walking around here. Okay? Let's continue on. It's going to get more spicy.
Capital gains taxes on gold are punitive. Gold is classified as a collectible, not an investment. The maximum tax rate is 28%, higher than the 20% rate on stocks.
If the government... See that? That's how do you see how nasty this devil is? But, the white man can be saved. You have idiot assholes. You really are assholes out there talking about the so-called white man can be saved. All right? No. Okay? He is the devil the Bible speaks of.
The government wanted to discourage gold ownership. It could. Increase the capital gains tax on gold to 50% or higher. Require reporting of all gold purchases, not just sales. Impose annual wealth taxes on...
Right. You heard what he said? Let's bring it back. Because Jake got an attention span of a 2-year-old.
On gold are punitive. Gold is classified as a collectible, not an investment. The maximum tax rate is 28%, higher than the 20% rate on stocks. If the government wanted to discourage gold ownership, it could increase the capital gains tax on gold to 50% or higher, require reporting of all gold purchases.
Require reporting on all gold purchases. How many of you Jakes had to go to a gold vendor? That vendor has to give up that information to the IRS, to the government, okay, of what you bought. All right. And here's another thing too. If any of you Jakes are buying gold via through an internet app and you don't physically have it, that's not wise. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Really, you're supposed to have gold and silver on your persons in your house somewhere, in like a lockbox, all right? To really say you own gold and silver. But to have it on an app, you might as well invest in crypto, okay? Not financial advice. Let's keep going.
Not just sales. Impose annual wealth taxes on gold holdings. None of these require confiscation. They just make gold ownership so expensive and surveilled that most people won't bother.
You heard that? They make gold so expensive and surveilled that most people won't bother. That's why these people are going to go take an RFID chip, the mark of the beast. These people are going to run to it. They're going to run to it and take the chip. Check this out. Modern threat too. Bank-ins and bank controls. Let me get Micah. The scriptures got to keep coming out, okay? Because the words of the Lord are at the forefront of all this, all right? This is why we do what we do. We don't trust in this world, okay? We don't put our stake in this world. We're just passing through. We use the world, but we don't abuse the world, all right? Because this world is full of corruption and wicked people, all right? Especially these wicked Edomites. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hands. You see that? 2. And they covet fields and they take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Boom. Okay? They even stole our identity, calling themselves a chosen people. All right? So you think this devil's going to play fair with the money system, with the wealth? The fuck out of here. Let's keep going.
Modern threat 2, bail-ins and banking controls. In 1933, the government confiscated gold to force people to hold dollars in banks. Today, the government can trap your money in banks through bail-ins. A bail-in is when a failing bank confiscates depositor money to recapitalize itself. Mm-hmm. This isn't theoretical. It happened in Cyprus in 2013.
That's right. Google it. Capital, what they call it a bail-in. They also called it capital controls, all right, where you couldn't take out all your money. You know, they limited you so to avoid a bank run. So you think you're gonna be able to get gold with $60? What kind of gold are you gonna get? Okay, or $50, depending on what they say. I'm just saying 60. All right, because usually if you want to go out to like the bar, okay, or get some food, you take out what, $60-$80? Okay, well, probably now 100 because inflation. But yeah, Cyprus. This is recent. All right, and that's why. Hey, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. Let me get that, okay? Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, right? When you go into the word stability, it means faith, all right? Understanding the will of the Lord, understanding where all this is going, all right? You're going to have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay? You're going to look to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for deliverance. Not precious metals. And strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Right. You see that? So, hey, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans that don't want to seek the Lord, or those that know that they're Israelites and playing games with this word, hey, the Lord gonna get you, man. He gonna get you real good.
Depositors lost 40-60% of their savings over $100,000. The US, EU, and other countries have all adopted bail-in frameworks as official policy.
This is facts. This is super facts, but they're going to skip over this, okay? You got Jake talk about generational wealth, all right? You have no idea what's coming, okay? All right? This is why we call ourselves here at Great Millstone through the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Faith, we are faith-based. We are faith Israelites. You have to have faith. Okay?
The next time a major bank fails, depositors could lose money. If your money is trapped in a failing bank, You can't use it to buy gold or any other asset.
Boom.
The government doesn't need to confiscate gold if it can trap your money in the banking system.
Boom.
Modern threat 3.
Check this out.
Central bank digital currencies,
Woo!
CBDCs.
Right. In third world countries, they call them CBDCs. Over here in Babylon the Great, it's stable coins. Same shit, different name. Okay? CBDCs is Coca-Cola. Pepsi is a stable coin, or vice versa. All right? Check this out. This is where this is where it's going. This is why everything's going digital. All right? Because they know the dollar is dead. Inflation is going to run rampant, and they gotta control people. Okay? And how do they control people? By the money supply or digital currency supply.
This is the most dangerous threat because it gives governments total control over your money.
Boom!
A CBDC is digital currency issued directly by the central bank. Instead of holding cash or having a bank account with Chase, you would have an account directly with the Federal Reserve.
Right. But now those that have been watching the whole crypto framework and, okay, these big banks like Chase are creating their own stable coins, which is programmable, which is trackable, okay? Because they're the owners of the central bank. When you do the history of how the central bank was established, it was established by the international bankers like J.P. Morgan, okay, Rockefeller, Rothschild, okay. They're the ones that set up this central bank, all right, as a lender of last resort when the economy doesn't do so well, all right. They'll just borrow from the future to pay for the present. That's what this whole game is about. Borrowing from the future to pay for the present, and it's catching up. That's why everything is in turmoil. Okay? And it was all designed because they want to force you into a new system where it's total control with an RFID chip, the mark of the beast. All right? And that's prophecy being fulfilled.
Every transaction would be visible to the government. Every dollar could be programmed with rules. Expiration dates, spending restrictions.
So you got to
the
go
government
back.
Doesn't need to confiscate
Hold on.
gold.
Did you hear that? Let's walk this down. This is powerful stuff, man. Okay? Be not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right, we have Great Millstone through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. We have the 100% truth. All right, we say this confidently, humbly, because you're going to need it to be delivered.
Gold if it can trap your money in the banking system. Modern threat 3. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This is the most dangerous threat because it gives governments total control over your money. A CBDC is digital currency issued directly by the central bank. Instead of holding cash or having a bank account with Chase, you would have an account directly with the Federal Reserve. Every transaction would be visible to the government. Every dollar could be programmed with rules. Expiration dates, spending restrictions, negative interest rates. If the government doesn't want you buying gold, it can program your CBDC wallet to reject gold purchases.
Boom. There you go. Okay? And we've been saying this. This is what it's all leading to. Total control. Programmable, all right, digital currency. Whether they want to call it stable or CBDCs, the same thing. Okay, there's going to be a time where, okay, the government is going, all right, to confiscate wealth. It is what it is. In fact, the scriptures talk about in 2nd Esdras, a madman sparing none, right? Madman sparing none. And spoiling, right? All right. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 71. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden on their foot. Right. And you're going to have a lot of our people consenting to this RFID chip, the mark of the beast, which is going to be to their own reproach, their own derision. Because when you take that digital all right, you have confirmed that you don't trust in the Lord. You trust in this devil's system. You trust in this devil, so you're going to go down with this devil in nuclear fire. Okay? 70. For there shall be in every place and the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? Okay, that's why you see the military troops being set up. Quick reaction force, right? Donald Trump, because they know an economic collapse is coming. 71, here's the point. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling, and destroying those that fear the Lord. 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. You see that? Take away their goods. All right? Talking about their sustenance. All right? Their substance. Okay? And that's why you can't rely on these assets, okay, as a source that's going to save you, all right, from this devil. Now, once again, back to being balanced. There's nothing wrong with buying some gold and silver and some crypto to use for a season, but it's only for a season. 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, right? Okay? Everyone's going to be tested, man. All right, but the elect are going to prevail because they've been chosen, predestined from the beginning. 74, hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. You see that? The Lord said he's going to deliver us. It didn't say gold and silver and crypto is going to deliver. He said he's going to deliver us. Okay? Let's play a little bit more and then we'll close out.
Or it can impose a 90% tax on gold purchases, automatically deducted from your account. With CBDCs, the government doesn't need to confiscate gold. It just makes buying gold impossible through programmed restrictions on your digital money. China has already implemented a digital yuan. Europe is preparing a digital euro for 2026. The Federal Reserve is researching a digital dollar. Modern threat. 4. Financial crisis leading to capital controls. When the next financial crisis hits, governments will impose capital controls to prevent money from leaving the country or the banking system. Capital controls restrict your ability to...
Sorry. So this is capital controls. The other one was bank bail-ins where the bank will just take your money saying, hey, we got to pay off the debt. But this is where they limit you from what you could take out of the ATM. So, excuse me. I twisted it out. I made a mistake regarding, okay, the different meanings, okay? Bank bail-ins is when they take your money, the banks take your money. Capital control is when they prevent you from, all right, taking out money from the ATM machines, all right, or from the bank. So that's it. Let me finish off with this scripture. Riches profit not. Yeah, riches profit not. You know, Proverbs chapter 11 verse 4, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivered from death. You see that? And that's what we want. We want to be delivered from this madman, okay? But we know riches profit not in the day of wrath. Okay? And this devil, he changes the rules all the time. He did it before, he's going to do it again. All right? So that's why I brought out Matthew chapter 6 verse 19 through 21, and I'll read it one more time. Lay not up yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Right? And who's the biggest thief? Esau, Edom. 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Right? And your mind should be on what? Getting the hell up out of here. Getting delivered. All right? All right? Begging the Lord to protect you and your family and deliver you from this madman. All right? And of course, the destruction. So, Lord willing, this less edifying. I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it door, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out of here. For the futures that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray at your head cover. Shalom.